I hope this won't get me in trouble. This is Hey Jude by the Beatles, or is it Jack Malik? For those who don't know, that's the premise of the movie Yesterday, which was one of the movies that I said back in my summer movie preview a few weeks back that I really, really wanted to see. Well, I had a little free time today. I actually got a chance to see it, so I'll be doing a review of Yesterday. All you need to know right now is it's well worth a shot to look at it. If you love the Beatles, if you like it, just a fun, entertaining, um, you know, something to do. It's a nice, great, fun film. Liked it a lot, and it goes fast. It's less than 2 hours long, so a lot of movies nowadays are over 2 hours. This is less than 2 hours, so but we'll hit that in a little bit. But this is Dylan Knows, episode 303, Before Yesterday, which before yesterday was also the 4th of July, so I figured I'd make that a play as well as the Yesterday movie as well. But here I am. So, it's a very light week this week. I got a page and a half of stories, so this is probably gonna be a quick, maybe hour long episode, if that. So that'd be good for this 4th of July. Oops, I forgot to. I was gonna start the show off on this. I can put this back on now. There we go. I don't know how long I'll stay on, but this is what I wore for 4th of July. Well, not this shirt, but the hat. Talk a little bit about the 4th of July a little bit. Talk about Mad Magazine shutting down, Walking Dead ending, earthquakes, high temperatures, beach fireworks that malfunction, earmuffs for cows, the review of Yesterday, cockroaches evolving. What do cats do? Kind of, I guess. Weird stuff in the pool. Pokemon Go is 3 years old. A couple of deaths, and a bluegrass metal band. So all kinds of interesting stuff going on. So we'll get moving right away. So I'll probably get to my review of Yesterday a little later in the program. 4th of July was uneventful, really. I went to my uncle's house like I always do. My sister, brother-in-law, and nephews came up. I hadn't seen them since my nephew's college or high school graduation party. So it was nice to see them and hang out with them. We had some nice conversations. I had good conversations with my cousins Paul and Liz, and my Uncle Philip. I actually talked to my Uncle Philip for a long time, which I really hadn't done in a while. Didn't talk to my sister, brother-in-law, or my dad or stepmom all that much, but it was fun, and the kids were good. Noel had a lot to say, and a lot of fun stuff going on. Not a lot of fireworks, which I was pleasantly surprised about. Also, not a lot of fireworks this year around the neighborhood. I don't know what the situation was. Maybe it was the weather, because we'd had rain most of the day on 4th of July, and rain off and on yesterday and today. Probably more tomorrow. It's raining right now. I grilled today, and before I could put the cover back on, the storm hit, so it's still coming down. So my grill's getting soaked, but that's okay. But yeah, some interesting stuff going on this week. Not a lot of stuff, and that could be just because it was a holiday week. Now, the thing now I'll think about is the next holiday is not until Labor Day. Now, there's other stuff in between, obviously. The 50th anniversary of the moon landing is coming up in a couple weeks. We'll do an episode about that in a couple weeks. And then, of course, everybody's going on their various vacations over the next 2 months. But yeah, I mean, from this point on, you'll start seeing back to school stuff and Halloween stuff starting to appear in your local stores and stuff like that. So yeah, we still got a lot of summer left, but this is it. I mean, this was like, okay, we're here, and now what comes after that is the big three. Actually, after Labor Day, it's the big three holidays. So we're getting close to the fall again, which is wonderful for me. The sooner this year ends, the better. This year has been a total shit show for me and my family. And there's still more issues coming up. My wife's having issues getting her car keys out of her ignition, so now we got to deal with that as well. And it's just we're trapped in this hot, muggy, humid, disgusting weather that is Maryland, I know, during the summer, but every once in a while we usually do get little breaks during the summer. So far we haven't gotten a nice little break, so yuck. So what happened this week? A couple of interesting things shut down this week. Mad Magazine, which has been going on since the 60s, I think, is officially shutting down sometime soon, I guess. I don't think it was, I don't know, they did their last issue this week or whatever. It's like a monthly, so I don't know if they wrapped up their August issue and then that was it, or their July one was their last. I don't know how it works out, but Mad Magazine is going to be shutting down. I mean, the way the world is nowadays, there's really no need for parody magazines because our government is a parody of itself, as is our governing officials. Both in both parties are just buffoons and parodies of each other, and this nightmare is slowly killing everybody here, and it needs to end soon with lots of changes, but it's not going to. So everything is hopeless and everything is terrible. So wonderful like that. Also, The Walking Dead, surprisingly, the comic book, ended its run with issue 193. So that issue came out on Wednesday the 3rd. Robert Kirkman did not announce it to his to the comic stores. He did not announce it to anybody until the day before it came out and said, oh yeah, by the way, this issue of Walking Dead is the last one. So of course, he didn't give a chance for comic book stores to increase the amount of books that they're getting. So now if you have a first edition of it, it's probably going to be worth some money because they're rushing a second printing in there now. And that's, I think, exactly what he wanted to do. But it wraps up his story. Still don't know. He's still, he had said this before, that he was never going to explain how the zombie apocalypse happened. So we don't find that out, but we find out the fates of a lot of our favorite characters, including Carl, who's still alive in the comics, and Michonne, and a bunch of, if you've been reading the comics, we find out what's been going on with a lot of your favorite people. Now, that doesn't mean that the TV show is ending. In fact, AMC keeps saying, we can do 10 more years of this show. They're also got a third spinoff getting ready to be filmed. So they're in the Walking Dead business for a while, but they've been getting away from the comics for a while. I mean, they can still hit some of the comic stories that are out there, but once they hit this point, that's it. That's the end. And they can't do the ending issue unless they change the character up because Carl's dead in the TV show. So sorry, this cold liquid feels so good. Brutally humid, sweaty thing. So I guess I'll pick up a copy of the second edition. When I went to my comic book store saying, if they have a copy left, maybe I'll pick it up. But I was came in on the Wednesday, the comics came out, and there's a big sign that says sold out, and said, limit one copy of The Walking Dead. So just have to settle for the second edition as well. Oh well, we'll see. Los Angeles was hit by two earthquakes. One was a 6.6 magnitude on 4th of July, and then another one this morning was a 7.1, which is like the heft of the one that hit San Francisco back in 89, I guess. And so, earthquakes are starting to increase in, and they actually called the 7.1. They said after the 6.6 happened, they said, don't be surprised if a 7.1 pops up in the next few days. And by golly, they were right. And then speaking of that, Anchorage, Alaska, got its first ever 90-degree day in history when they were going back to when weather was, kept track of. There had never been a 90-degree day in the history of Anchorage, Alaska until this week. So don't tell me climate change does not exist, because Anchorage, Alaska, while does not get frigid during the summer, it's still a temperate 75, 80 degrees up there, and that only stays for a little bit, and then it goes down into the 50s and 40s. It still snows during the summer up there, so it still gets chilly up there even with the 24-hour sun, but yeah, that's a 90-degree day in Alaska. Europe is getting baked, and we're stuck in this stupid heat and humidity flux that is not changing. And it's really pissing me off. A lot of stuff is pissing me off today, and I'm getting sick of it. So, as I said, around here there weren't a lot of fireworks, but a lot of other places they do have fireworks. There was one beach. I don't know exactly where the beach was, but one beach they were getting ready to have their fireworks extravaganza, and a malfunction happened where every single firework went off at the same time. There's video of it out there. You can check it out for like beach firework, and see if you can find it. Let's see if I can find it real quick. It was on Facebook. Uh, Beach firework. Uh, let's see. No, they might not have it on here, but yeah. So it might have been E-Bombs World. Let me check that out real quick. But yeah, so every single firework went off at one time, and that was absolutely insane. So I don't know. I can't see if it's anything. Let's see. Where's videos? Videos. Just see if it just popped up here. I don't see it anywhere. But regardless, there was a massive, massive explosion that freaked out a lot of people. And then the fireworks show was, it's done and over with. So no more fireworks. And so I just got to be careful about that. Earmuffs for cows are a thing. Farmers need to keep their cows nice and warm, so particularly during the cold spell. So they've actually created earmuffs for cows, which is good. Keep the cows warm and happy. I mean, horses get blankets put on them when they go outside to feed, so why not cows get something? It's only fair. Child gets flesh-eating bacteria while swimming in the Maryland Bay. Last week, I talked about a bunch of other incidences where people were getting flesh-eating bacteria from swimming in various bodies of water. So again, something that could very well be a climate change issue is causing the occurrence of these flesh-eating bacteria. So just be careful when you're out there swimming out there. You also want to keep an eye out for sharks again, because another man, a Florida man this time, didn't do anything stupid. He actually was bitten by a shark in the Bahamas. So he was a Florida man, but he didn't do anything stupid. In this case, he was just minding his own business, swimming in the Bahamas, when he was attacked by a shark. Last week, a woman was eaten by 3 sharks, and now there's another shark attack here. So once again, the sharks are getting a little bit anxious as well. Maybe they're deciding it's time to move up the attack on humans, or there's something not right about the oceans that are causing them to attack humans. So we'll see what happens. 20-year-old man was pronounced dead by doctors, but when his family could not pay for, I guess, the burial stuff, embalming and stuff like that, they took the body home and were going to figure out something to do when they noticed that the body started to move and it wasn't quite dead yet. So that's a little freaky story. The guy who was thought to be dead had a head injury and was unresponsive. He still is in critical condition, and he's still not like maybe awake, but he's still alive. So that's a interesting thing. More terrible news. A theme park ride snaps in two in midair, sending riders plunging to the ground. That's always a scary thing to see at, particularly like a lot of these, amusement parks that people go to during the summer. That's one fear that a lot of people have, that something's going to happen to the rides. Now, it doesn't always happen a lot, and when it does, it makes news because it doesn't happen that often. But still, just be extra careful, and that stuff could happen. Summertime is in full swing, and people go in the pool all the time. How about some floating pants? People can now put on a floaty like pants and float while wearing like floaty pants. So I guess that's something different. If you don't want to have the like noodle or whatever, or a floaty thing, you just wear the floaty pants and you can float around to your heart's content. People fascinated by serial killers are more intelligent than others. That's kind of interesting. And again, I don't know where these studies decide to come up or what that actually means. So Are you more interested in serial killers because you're smart, or you're just curious? Now, I admit I've read some of the Wikipedia stories about some of the serial killers out there. They're very disturbing and unnerving, and I don't know why I would even read them, but I'm also fascinated by a lot of the books that are out there on these serial killers. And, I don't know. And it just seems like an odd study that people who are interested in serial killers are more intelligent than others. It just, I don't understand what that's about, but it's there. Um, More fireworks stuff. A fire breaks out at the Santa Lucia Met Stadium in Florida during 4th of July fireworks display. So you're at a baseball game on 4th of July, and after the game's over, hey, we'll launch some fireworks. Why not? It's 4th of July. Baseball and fireworks are synonymous with each other. So they start launching these fireworks in St. Lucia, which is in Florida, and they're shooting off and shooting off. And then before you know it, all of a sudden a fire erupts outside of the Met Stadium that they have to, I guess, from stray sparks or flames or whatever, caught some of the dry plants or items out in front of the stadium and caught them on fire. So again, fireworks are dangerous. Always never forget that. Rescue dog won't let orphaned foal sheep alone. Again, proving that animals are concerned with each other, working together, helping each other when need be. Yeah, they might hate each other in some aspects, but they also love and respect each other and want them all to be good. A Latvian movie has a scene where a woman has sex with a giant spider. I mean, that shouldn't be too surprising with the occurrence of romance books with women having sex with dinosaurs, and the sea movie, that the movie Guillermo del Toro did about a woman who had sex with a sea creature. Why not have a movie where a woman has sex with a giant spider? So cool, I guess. It's Latvia, so who knows? Dad who ate a live gecko at a party, dies 10 days later of salmonella. I don't know if I did this story already, or if this is another occurrence where someone ate a live animal and died of salmonella. It's, why would you eat a live gecko anyway on a bet? That's just disgusting and sick, and you're dead 10 days later. It's almost as bad as a woman having sex with a giant spider. It's crazy. So people are stupid. This world's a mess right now. Here's another reason why this world is a mess. Decapitated swan pool floats are a thing now. So you can be in a swan pool float and the swan's head can pop off, or you can pop it back on. Why in God's name would you have a decapitated swan pool float? Why would that even interest you? And I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it's because, here's a story for you. A live swan actually kills a dog in a park. It was videotaped also. A swan attacks a dog that I guess was swimming towards it, and the swan actually brutally murders this dog, and it's filmed on video. It's like, well, you're filming on video. Why the hell are you filming on video? Go and stop the bird from killing your dog, for God's sakes. Is it that interesting to see? I mean, yes, it's unique. Were you scared? Were you frozen to the scene? You're seeing a swan that you didn't expect would do something like this, killing your dog. Swans are evil, I guess. I guess that's why you want decapitated swan pool floats. There's a bluegrass metal band. I didn't hear any of their music. What is this? Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, some space radiation doesn't seem to be causing astronauts to die from cancer. That's a good story. I didn't write that one down. But yeah, so before that, I was talking about bluegrass metal. I mean, there's all kinds of hybrids out there of bands playing their type of music, but bluegrass and metal just doesn't seem to be something that would mesh, but I guess it does. Astronauts cancer. This girl I went to college with is like responding to all these things and just like, okay. Okay. But yeah, so let's see if I can find some bluegrass metal here. No, because I knew that was on Facebook. Again, let me just see if I can just look it up. Bluegrass metal. There we go. The Native Howl. This is Thunderhead by Native Howl. It actually sounds pretty cool. So that's actually the Native Howl. That actually sounds really quite cool, actually. So, hey, bluegrass metal might be my new favorite mashup of music. Fantastic. That was what was that? The something howl, Native Howl. That's pretty cool. I love that. As I was just saying, space radiation doesn't seem to be causing astronauts cancer. My friend Adria from college responds, well, because they don't get as big of a dose of it as other people do. But, and I get that. I thought it was an interesting story. But here's the thing. When people were being sent to the moon, that was one thing people were most worried about, was that would the astronauts get affected by the radiation without any protection like the Earth has while they're out there on the moon surface. That was one of the big problems people had. And apparently it's not causing them cancer. So it could be possible that it's a small radiation amount, but the fact that it still doesn't cause them cancer is the same. Yes, I know there's other health issues that they have, and it changes their DNA apparently, from what I've read somewhere too. But the fact is, one big fear that everybody had about space, astronauts in space, and one of the reasons why we shouldn't go to space is because the radiation might hurt our astronauts, apparently is now untrue. So voila. Sorry, it's just so good. Sad notes, Artie Johnson of Laugh-In passed away this week, as did Lee Iacocca. So maybe not as big names as some of the other ones that have passed away recently, but still, people have heard of both Artie Johnson and Lee Iacocca. I think Lee Iacocca might have actually ran for president one time. Well, there's that. So people still dying. We'll see what happens. Here's another person who died. 77-year-old man died while watching the movie Annabeth Comes Home. Now, I don't know if he was scared to death or it was just he was already suffering from some kind of health problem or health scare. But the fact is, maybe it's coincidental that he has happened to catch a movie that was a scary movie that caused him to have a heart attack. So, it's kind of a cliche. You always say that a film is going to scare you to death. Well, now apparently a film has actually scared somebody to death. Now, of course, the person's 77 years old, could have had some other medical issues, but the fact is a lot of people now are going to equate the death of somebody in a movie theater watching the movie Annabeth Comes Home. Fruit Loops has a brand new cereal. They're doing a birthday cake flavored cereal, which is like the first new Fruit Loops like ever. I mean, they've had Fruit Loops with marshmallows before, but you don't really change Fruit Loops all that much. I don't think there's that much you can do with Fruit Loops to change it. So now they have a birthday cake flavored one. So huzzah. This week has been full of all kinds of stuff. As I said, Walking Dead ending, Mad Magazine ending, shark attacks, weather issues, earthquakes, stuff like that. But one of the biggest things, and one of the signs that this country is still in a massive problem that's causing all kinds of issues and is creating shit shows all over the place, is the reaction that R&B singer Halle Bailey, not Halle Berry, Halle Bailey, has been cast as Ariel in the Little Mermaid live action film that Disney is making. Again, Disney is in this live action remake of their cartoons era. I just bought Dumbo last week. which I haven't watched yet, but it's a Tim Burton movie. That's why I picked it up. It has Michael Keaton in it, so I figured I'd pick that one up. Aladdin came out this summer, did pretty well in the movie theaters, made a lot of money, so apparently they're popular. Lion King is going to destroy all those numbers. It's going to. I don't think it's going to be Avengers Endgame style numbers, but it's going to be close. Um, when it comes out in a couple weeks. So that's gonna they already have that proof from all the advanced ticket sales they have for Lion King. So that's gonna go crazy. And then I think Mulan's coming out this fall. I haven't heard much about it, and I don't know much about. I haven't seen anything about it, so I don't know if that's still even going to happen or not. But the whole big deal was R&B star Halle Bailey is African American, and all the white supremacist racist bastards on the internet all of a sudden jumped on it and says they're ruining our childhood. The Little Mermaid is not black; she's white. This is all trying to do all the blah 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 and just complain about and pull himself. What would have happened if the Black Panther was white? That's the kind of thing. And it's just a whole bunch of bullshit and just going back and forth and it's starting to make my head hurt about this. The racism, the sexism, everything is causing me to have all these issues. I think that I'm not feeling good and I'm having a crappy year and stuff like that. But what people should be talking about is the fact that these live action remakes are really unnecessary. They make a lot of money, so that's why Disney's going to keep doing them. And I don't care if the Little Mermaid is black, white, Asian, male, whatever. I don't care what they decide to do. The fact of the matter is, The Little Mermaid is a terrible movie, and it's not because of the casting or anything like that. It's the characters. The story is absolutely horrendous. Now the music is fantastic, but it is one of my least favorite Disney films. And if you've been watching this show for the past 302 episodes, you know this already. But for those who haven't, yes, I would literally say I despise The Little Mermaid. Yes, it was big for its time in 1989, I guess is when that came out. It was ahead of its time. It's what brought Disney's animation studio back to being on top. And they haven't really looked back since then. And it's just the fact of the matter is the story itself is just junky. It's stupid about a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, something like that, who doesn't know anything, defies her father, and causes more problems than necessary. And then her dad has to sacrifice himself to clean up her mess, and all to get some dick, really, for the most part. That's what it is. She's a 16-year-old kid. She doesn't know jack about anything. She's never lived anywhere except below the sea. She's never experienced anything, and she sees a gorgeous hunk of man, and her fish loins get wet, and she wants to have some hard beef in her, and she wants to turn human, and so she makes a deal with the witch that she'll turn human, but she can't talk, which doesn't make any goddamn sense either. And then everything should be null and void. The contract should be null and void because the witch uses Ariel's voice to make sure that Ariel doesn't succeed in her quest, which that alone should disqualify her from it. Should disqualify the contract, that you're using this stuff that you acquired illegally to cause issues to stop her from finishing her contract. There's a lot of issues I have with the movie itself. It's not a great movie. And when make a live action, fine, it'll make a lot of money. Obviously, it's a lot of people's favorite movies. It's not mine. I'm not going to go see it. I just have no desire to. And but the whole racism issue is stupid and dumb. And just get over yourselves and just move on with your God-forsaken life, people. Oh God, everything's freaking terrible. Here's another thing that's terrible. 40 fire destroys a 45,000 bourbon barrels. So there's a fire, I guess, at the Jack Daniels plant or whatever. It destroyed 45,000 barrels of bourbon. That's gone, kaput. They've lost all that money. That was going to be years worth of bourbon that they could sell to various liquor stores and bars. And now it's gone, all gone. It's like poof. And I don't know how they're going to recover from that. That is an absolutely insane amount. And that's just, again, something so awful happening out there now. It's just, you know, I'm had enough of this. Sorry, it's just on there loosely. I wore it a little bit. I'll wear it next year. I'll put it right there. And it's hot, and I'm just grumpy right now. A woman was banned from Walmart after eating half a cake and then refusing to pay full price for it. Now, I get going to a grocery store and grabbing some grapes or something like that and just popping in your mouth. I don't think it's right. I think it's not free. You need to pay for those grapes. If you get a bunch of grapes and you start eating them off, you should still pay for everything. If you get a candy bar and you open it up before you get to the register, you should still keep the tag out so they can scan it. If you drink soda or water before you actually get to the register, you still need to pay for it. I've done that before, but I paid for it before. I drank half of it and I gave it to the people. They scanned it, gave back to me. I finished it off. I paid for it. I did my job. But for some reason, she started eating half a cake, and I guess she was going to pay for it. But she said, "Hey, I only ate half of it. I don't want the other half, so just charge me for the half that I ate." And they're not going to do that because you ate half the cake, and they cannot sell half a cake that you've already eaten. Think, people, why are you so stupid? And that's the other thing also going on. The woman who was videotaped opening a gallon of ice cream, licking the top of it, of the ice cream, taking a bunch of ice cream in her tongue, and then putting it back on the rack. That's disgusting. And finally she got busted, and she can go to jail for a long time. And now someone else has been videotaped opening up Listermint or Listerine mouthwash, swishing it around her mouth, then spitting it back in there and putting it back on the shelf. That's ridiculous. What is going on with this country? What is wrong with people? I don't know what else I can say. That's why everything is so freaking terrible now. Stuff like this. I need to step away from this stuff because it's just ridiculous stuff happening. Fascinating thing. Adam Rainier, something like that, in history was both a dwarf and a giant. He was a dwarf. He was born a dwarf, smaller than most kids, and got to a certain age, he was still small, so people thought he was a dwarf. And then all of a sudden, like that, he grew and became a massive giant and became one of the tallest people in the world as well. It's a weird story and kind of fascinating at the same time. And I'm going to try to think if I can bring some of this weird history. I've done it a few times last couple weeks, bringing some interesting stuff up, and I hope to bring some more like there. So that's kind of an interesting story. Check it out. I think it's Adam Rainier, the dwarf giant. A serial toilet clogger has been sentenced to 150 days in jail and 3 years probation. How do you get the moniker of serial toilet clogger? I mean, I guess you go to different restaurants or places of business or whatever, and you clog people's toilets. Is that really a problem? I mean, I guess if you're doing it deliberately, sure. But like my son, he clogs the toilet all the time. Not all the time, I shouldn't say all the time, but he does a lot. It's because he uses too much toilet paper, and that's the problem. You know, I've told him, don't use a ton of toilet paper because it'll get stuck in the pipes. Pipes are very small, and the toilet paper can be very thick, and even in the toilet in the water, it gets thick, and it clogs it up. And so luckily I had the plunger right there, so it's real easy to fix, but still. but just the fact is that a serial toilet clogger is sentenced to 150 days in jail. What are you doing? What are you in for? Yeah, I clog toilets. That's the thing. I don't know the whole story behind it. As I said, did he go to restaurants to do it? Did he break into people's houses and do it? Then maybe it would make sense. But if you just clog toilets because you use too much toilet paper, you really shouldn't go to jail for that. You just need to learn to use less toilet paper. This is actually kind of interesting. Canada opened the first ever coast to coast trail, hiking trail. I think that's kind of cool. Yes, it would take months to traverse the entirety of Canada, but the fact of the matter is, it is a specific trail created to connect the east coast of Canada with the west coast of Canada, and walking amongst all the gorgeousness that is Canada. Now, obviously, if you do it during the winter, it's going to be kind of rough because the temperature is very brutal in Canada, pretty much all the way the whole time. But still, the fact is, a coast to coast hiking trail is fascinating. The Appalachian Trail has always been fascinating to me also. That's like a trail that goes from like Florida or Georgia up to Maine. It traverses the entire eastern seaboard. So there's a Appalachian Trail path in Maryland that you can go to, and you can actually walk part of the Appalachian Trail if you want. And I think that's kind of cool. But to do one from coast to coast is crazy, and kudos to Canada on that. Now, Heinz ketchup is my favorite ketchup, and you can fight me. Hunt's is just meh, but Heinz is the best. However, they have downgraded a little bit in my eyes now. They have created something called canned macaroni and cheese. It's canned macaroni and cheese, and a can looks like a soup can. You open it up, it's mac and cheese. You dump it out. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work. Hawaii's largest volcano is now on alert that it possibly could erupt. Again, all this stuff is starting to happen now. A lot more earthquakes and volcanoes and high temperatures and situations. And maybe there's something coming. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe this is the beginning of the end. I'm not trying to be an alarmist or anything, but that's a lot of stuff happening in this week alone, which could potentially cause major catastrophes across the country, or even the world for that matter. So it's on alert. Again, alert doesn't mean anything. It just means that it's been making some noise. Let's take an eye on it. The movie Dante's Peak does a brilliant job of that. They go up, they check it out. It's like it's making some movement, some earthquakes, and a little bit of smoke has been showing up. But, it's been dormant for centuries. Let's just go take a look. It's probably nothing. We'll keep an eye on it. And of course, how that turned out. That turned out to be a disaster. This doesn't mean that the largest volcano in Hawaii is about ready to erupt now or tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, but it's creating something is happening within the bowels of it, which means something could potentially happen. I'm not saying it will, but it could happen potentially sooner than later. So they just want to be careful. So keep an eye on it. So voila. During the summer, one of the things that you might have done as a kid is, create your own lemonade stand. And people still do that, believe it or not. I was coming home from my mom's house last week, and I was driving by this neighborhood, and there were older kids. They looked like they were like 13, 14, like my daughter's age, selling lemonade. They were holding up signs, buy lemonade, free lemonade. Not free lemonade, but buy lemonade, 25 cents, Lemonade stand is a cultural icon. I've done lemonade stands. One of the things I did, I actually sold soda. That was more long as I did. And one of the computer games I played when computers first started, doing that kind of stuff was lemonade stand. But Country Time, which does lemonade, they're offering to pay the fines of any kids charged with operating an unlicensed lemonade stand. Apparently, there are cities out there that will not allow you, even if you're a young kid just trying to make a few bucks, will not allow you to operate a lemonade stand, and they'll fine you and they'll close you down. And that's just kind of dumb. It's I don't get it. But Country Time, standing up for their rights, they say if any kids get in any trouble, let us know and we'll pay your fines for you, because we think that the lemonade stand is a cultural icon and should continue to be so. My friend Scotty McDonald sent me a Facebook page about the crochet shorts, which just looked terrible. And it was really a joke because he knows we wouldn't ever wear it. But they are actual shorts that are crocheted, done with yarn, darned with yarn and stuff like that. And they look terrible. But hey, there's something out there. Someone might like it and go for it. Bill and Ted 3 Face the Music officially started filming this week, so we will actually be seeing a new Bill and Ted movie next year. So huzzah on that. Great premise on that one is that they're grown up now and they haven't made their big song that's supposed to unite the universe, so they're starting to panic because they don't think it's going to happen. And that the new, universe, the luxurious universe where there's no war and pain and suffering, might not happen because they couldn't create their songs. That could be pretty interesting. The Nevada Highway Patrol pulls over a hearse in the HOV lane. Now, the HOV lane is only supposed to be used for people, 2+ people in the car. It's supposed to be help to encourage, what's the word? Ride sharing or something like that, where, you get a group of people to come together and you share a car. You all split the gas and you're all going to the same place. So instead of having more cars on the road, you just share the road. You share one car, and it's a way to meet new people and stuff like that. And a lot of highways nowadays have HOV lanes, which are lanes set up specifically to help avoid traffic, by saying if you have more than one person in your car via a ride sharing or whatever, go ahead and use these HOV lanes. They're quicker, not as many cars are on them. But the hearse had one driver and one dead body in it, and that doesn't quite count as being a live person. Another sign that the world might be ending is cockroaches apparently are evolving. I didn't tell you the story. A couple weeks ago, I was complaining that I had to work on a Saturday. And that pissed me off. It still pisses me off. But anyway, so I was at work on Saturday, and I was heading into our break room. And as I'm opening the door to our break room, this giant thing just flies and lands on the door. It's a cockroach with giant wings. I don't remember cockroaches having wings. Now, maybe they do. I just don't remember that. I remember the little scurry little brown thing scurrying around on the ground. This sucker was like this long, and it had wings, and it was a cockroach. So I ended up killing it, but that's something I've never seen before, and that's absolutely crazy. So cockroaches are evolving, and pretty soon we might not even be able to kill them. So, well, they always said the cockroaches were going to be the ones that were going to inherit the earth, so who knows? Speaking of other creepy things, cryptofecal something can linger for days in swimming pools. It's like some sort of fecal, disease thing. It's like poop. It's like a poop disease or something like that. And the germs like that could linger in swimming pools for days. So you could be swimming in cryptofecal stuff. I don't know exactly what it is. So just something for you to think about. A bull steals a teen's soccer ball to play his own game. So the bull took the kid's soccer ball and started kicking it around himself. Again, animals seem to be evolving and turning into their own thing and fighting back against us humans. But at the same time, cats mirror the personalities of their owners. Now, I don't know if that's exactly true. My cat really doesn't, I don't think, mirror me. I mean, she sleeps and eats and meows, and I don't really do. I sleep and eat, but I don't meow often. But I guess, they see what we're doing, and they somehow are able to turn into actions that they can do also. I don't know. Interesting. Just thought it was interesting. Arby's, this wasn't a joke either. This was a real thing. Arby's are making meat based on vegetables to help kids to eat their vegetables. The one thing they showed was a carrot. So it looked like a real carrot, but it was made out of meat. So Arby's is creating this like vegetable meats. I don't know if it tastes like meat or if it tastes like vegetables, but it's meat. I don't know. But it's to get kids to eat their vegetables. I think that's just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I love Arby's. I love their food. I will go there to eat all the time, but I don't think I'm going to eat any meat vegetables. That was me. That's why I should name this episode as Meat Vegetables. Mm. Freak hailstorm hits Mexico. Again, more weather weirdness going on this week. We have earthquakes. We had high temperatures in Anchorage, Alaska. We had lots of rainstorms, thunderstorms rolling through here. We've had tornadoes over the last few months here in Maryland, which we haven't had very often. But now we have a freak hailstorm that hit Mexico. Now, we had snow in Colorado for the first day of summer, so why not have hail in Mexico? And my wife's Aunt Jean lives in Colorado. They had a 90-degree day, and literally in about 5 hours, the temperature changed, and they had massive-sized hail hit them. So the weather changed. Something caused an issue. So something's going on. So to be continued, I guess. Millipede venom gets lemurs high as fuck. That was the actual headline. We've seen that there are animals who use the venom or other stuff of other creatures that they use for their defense to actually get high on. And again, that just goes to show you that the animals are evolving into something like that. But now lemurs take millipedes and sniff their venom, and it gets them high. Where do the lemurs learn this stuff? We learned it from watching you, I guess. This is just a weird story. A guy built a studio apartment in secret under a bridge. I mean, it's the studio apartment. It's not very big. It's got a bed, a table, chair, but he built it himself and nobody saw it. And why would you build underneath a highway? I mean, you're going to be trying to sleep and you're going to hear cars overhead all the time. But your roof is a thick highway road and you're extending the air. How do you actually get into your studio apartment underneath a bridge? I can't even imagine that. And why would you? And how would you build it? I don't know. I have lots of questions. But the guy built an actual studio apartment underneath a bridge. It's kind of fascinating how that happens. Neil Gaiman and David Goyer have teamed up to do a Sandman Netflix show. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition. I guess it could be interesting as long as they, treat it like the way Sandman is and not try to turn it to something else. But with Neil Gaiman being involved with it, he's the guy that created Sandman and wrote it, the entire series. Hopefully it'll be good. David Goyer is not someone that I have a lot of faith in, but I do have faith in Neil Gaiman. So we'll see what happens there. Today, Pokemon Go is 3 years old. Literally today they are. So still going strong. More shinies, more gaming, stuff like that. It's still pretty fun. Just haven't really had a chance to go out and do it yet in a while. I mean, I have, but it's just starting to be kind of not a grind, but it's we'll see. I'm still enjoying it, though. It's fun and something that Dawn still likes to do. So something for us to do together, which is great. Finally, today, let's discuss real quick my review of yesterday. This was the movie a few weeks back when I did my summer movie preview. Said that I want to see this most of all because I saw the trailer. I love the idea of the trailer. And it's written by Richard Curtis, who is the mastermind behind Four Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill. I just had it in my head. Love Actually, About Time, or In Time, one of those things. He's written some of the not Blackadder, but some of the Mr. Bean stuff as well. But he's got that, he has a specific style, and it's really good, and people really enjoy it. And it is. He's a very good writer, and I like him. And Danny Boyle directed. Danny Boyle was the director of 28 Days Later and Trainspotting and a bunch of other stuff as well. So it's kind of a weird mixture of stuff. But the premise itself is fantastic. It follows a guy named Jack Malik, who is a musician. He was a teacher, but he his first love as a musician. His longtime friend, played by Lily James, who is absolutely adorable, um, and is in love with him, but she never lets on how much she loves him, and he's totally oblivious to it. Um, she is his manager, and she gets him to some little gigs, but doesn't do much, church gigs and little bar gigs and stuff like that. And he's got a few things. He's not successful though. So one night he's driving away from Lily. I forget what her character's name is. Ellie. Her name's Ellie. Driving away from Ellie, his manager, at night, and all of a sudden there's a massive worldwide blackout. And while he's driving his bike, the blackout encompasses all of where he is, also in Suffolk, in England. And he is riding his bike, and he gets hit by a bus who couldn't see him. So as he goes flying, he lands on the ground. So as he lands on the ground, the electricity comes back on, and he passes out. He wakes up in the hospital. His beard has been shaved because his mouth has been badly damaged, and he's lost 2 teeth, but he's alive. And Ellie's there telling him what's going on. And eventually he gets out of the hospital, and she buys him a new guitar because his one got wrecked in the wreck. So he sings to Ellie and their friends, who are also there to visit him, Yesterday, which we all know is a Beatles song written by Paul McCartney. And after it's done, everyone is thoroughly shocked about how wonderful a song it was. And they said, "When did you write that?" And he's like, "I didn't write that. Paul McCartney wrote that." They're like, "Who?" "Paul McCartney, the Beatles." They don't know who the Beatles are. So this sort of freaks out Jack. So he goes back to his house, and he goes on to Google and Googles the Beatles, and nothing comes up about them. He Googles John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Nothing comes up about them. He Googles, names of their songs, and nothing comes up about them except like the locations that they were written about. And so, but then he Googles like the Rolling Stones, and they're still around. But he also Googles Oasis, and they're not, because Oasis was a Beatles like tribute band for the most part to begin with. So he begins to realize that he's the only one who remembers the Beatles and their songs. So he makes a decision, which sticks with him for the whole movie, and which is the premise of the movie, that he is going to borrow their songs and sing them himself, and hopefully maybe become popular due to it. And sure enough, things start happening, and people start loving his stuff. And eventually Ed Sheeran, the actual singer, comes and asks him to open his show for him. So he does, and everyone loves him. And then Ed Sheeran's manager comes and decides to hire Jack and get an album together. So now he becomes a big star while co-opting Beatles songs. So he's starting to feel a little guilty about that. Meanwhile, during a drunken night before he leaves, Ellie declares how much she loves him, and he doesn't know how to respond to it because he's got to go. And then he goes, and he starts having doubts about what he did, but he's already inked it and signed off on it. So he's becoming hugely popular as the Beatles are. And before you know it, his life gets turned upside down, but that guilt is still sticking with him. And then he discovers that there are 2 other people who also remember the Beatles songs, and he's afraid they're going to come after him. So there's a whole lot. I'm not gonna spoil anymore, but there's a whole lot of stuff. There's also a lot of the recurring jokes is that not only are the Beatles the only thing missing, there's also a number of other popular things that are missing. I'm not going to ruin what they are, but it's actually a pretty funny recurring joke. And you get a lot of really good Beatles music. Hamish Patel is the I think his name Hamish Patel is the star of the movie. Let me just verify that. I just saw it too. Yesterday movie. I'm pretty sure it's Hamish Patel. but I'm not going to. Lily James is absolutely, yeah. Himish Patel, yep, and Lily James. They have a great chemistry together. Himish sings all the songs. He's a really good singer. Um, he is a fun. It's a fun film. Ed Sheeran has a good time, kind of parodying himself. Kate McKinnon plays the agent, who is great. And but Lily James is just absolutely adorable in this movie. And Himish Patel, this is like his first big film. He's got really good comic timing, comic faces and stuff like that. And it's such a great, fun film. Just it's as I said at the beginning of the show, it's less than 2 hours long. It's about an hour and 54 minutes long. It goes by fast. It really does. It's like they go through Jack's. They get to his accident. It's literally like 5 minutes into the film. It's like bam, 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 bam. Okay, we're at the accident, and then there's a few more minutes in between, and then bam, bam, bam. And then he starts doing the Beatles stuff, and then that takes up bam, 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 and then it sort of slows down a little bit near the middle when the relationship starts to become the movie becomes more of a romantic comedy relationship type of thing, which again is fine because the two of them are adorable together, and you can't help but want them to be together, and it just becomes, and then it slows a little bit down, then it picks back up. It does end a little bit. I guess, I don't know what to expect. Just from the trailers, I had my own ideas how I thought it was going to end, and the trailers are actually very misleading in a lot of cases. There's a couple of scenes that aren't even in the movie, and different angles and different takes that weren't used in the movie as well. But that's par for the course. They do that all the time with movies. And it is an absolutely wonderful film. And I highly recommend, if you have nothing else to do, if you're burned out by superhero films and animation films and high action films and stuff like that, you want to see something, a little bit more, dramatic, not really necessarily dramatic, but just something fun, something kind of light and fluffy. And if you like the Beatles, absolutely go see this. And, go out and enjoy it. As I said, it's a quick film, an hour and 54 minutes. It goes by really quick, and it'll make you, start feeling good. It's not laugh out loud funny. The crowd I saw it with was mostly older people, and there weren't really a lot of guffaws and a lot of laughs in it, but there is some funny stuff, and it might be, my sense of humor. I laughed a lot more stuff, I think, than people did. But it's just one of those films that it's just absolutely adorable. It's a lot of fun, and it's exactly what I was expecting after I saw the trailer, and I was very happy to see it. As I said, it ends a little bit differently than I thought it would, but I guess in the end, it kind of had to end the way it did. So, absolutely worth it. I will be telling everybody in the world that I see to go see this movie, and I will definitely be buying it when it becomes out on DVD, which is usually going to be about 2 months. So sometime in September, October, I'll actually have a copy of the film that I can watch whenever I want to, and it can be up there with my movie The Dish, which I will be watching again in time for the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. So definitely go see Yesterday. Highly recommended. Fun, quick film, as I said. If you love the Beatles movies, it's great. Danny Boyle does a really good job with framing a bunch of shots, does a bunch of crazy things that he does. There are some concert set pieces. The score is really good. And, there are some surprises, particularly near the end of the film. There's particularly one big surprise. Robert Carlyle is unrecognizable in this one role that he is not credited for, but it is a very good scene, and it changes up how the movie is going to end. So it's a great film, highly recommended, and I think everybody should go out and see it, and I will be telling everybody in the world to go out and see it. So that was it for this week. Let's talk about the anniversaries this week. We have South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut is at 20 years this year. Seinfeld is at 30 years. The first episode of Seinfeld came out this week, 30 years ago. So it's 30 years old right now. Forrest Gump came out 25 years ago this week. Terminator 2 came out 28 years ago this week. PG-13, the rating system, turns 35 this week. Airplane turns 38 this week, because it came out this week. And The Great Muppet Caper came out in 1981, which makes it 81, 91, 2001, 2011, 38 years old as well. So Airplane, Great Muppet Caper came out at the same time. Okay. So that's all stuff that came out this week. Go see yesterday, absolutely. That one's the reason why I was playing Hey Jude at the beginning. So now we'll do some check eye day, and then we will be done. See, a little bit over an hour. Boom. July 6th is Hop a Park Day, International Cherry Pit Spitting Day, International Day of Cooperatives, International Kissing Day, National Air Traffic Control Day, National Fried Chicken Day, Take Your Webmaster to Lunch Day, Umbrella Cover Day. Yesterday, July 5th, was Bikini Day, Comic Sans Day, National Apple Turnover Day, National Graham Cracker Day, National Workaholics Day. July 4th was Independence Day, obviously. Allison. July 3rd is American Redneck Day, Disobedience Day, National Chocolate Wafer Day, National Compliment Your Mirror Day, National Eat Beans Day, National Fried Clam Day, Stay Out of the Sun Day. And then July 7th, which is tomorrow, Sunday, or today if you're watching this today, July 7th is Tell the Truth Day, National Strawberry Sundae Day, National Macaroni Day, National Dive Bar Day, National Build a Scarecrow Day, Global Forgiveness Day, Father-Daughter Take a Walk Together Day. Maybe I'll take a walk with my daughter. And it's Chocolate Day. So everybody who loves chocolate, go eat yourself some chocolate tomorrow. It is, or today, Sunday, it is National Chocolate Day. That, my friends, is all we have about that. So, on that note, we've got one more day left in our 4th of July weekend. I don't really have any plans for tomorrow, so hopefully it'll be a nice, relaxing day. Hopefully maybe next week I'll be able to take the kids out to see Spider-Man. I haven't seen that yet. But while we're at it, go see Yesterday. It's a great film, particularly if you're a Beatles fan. It's fun. It's, there's nothing bad about it. There's very little cursing in it. It's just a fun film, and I think you'll enjoy it. So from that note, I will check you all out again next week. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.